WTMJ News Time is 8:08.
On the field, inside the clubhouse, and everything in between. This is Brewers Weekly. Here's Dominic Cotroneo.
Okay, we're not hitting the panic button. We're keeping our composure. It's going to be okay. I said it's going to be fine. Why are you freaking out? We're all okay here. It's fine, really. Tough start to the homestand. Welcome in. I'm Dom Cotroneo. The Brewers lose today 6-2 to the Braves. They lose the series, back-to-back rubber games at home that they've lost. First with the Padres on Sunday, and then today on this Wednesday against the Braves. You know, we're going to explain the difference between the panic button and the urgency button, because I think that urgency button is unlocked right now in the eyes of the Brewers, and what that means for this Cardinals series coming up this weekend. We'll hear from the manager, Pat Murphy, coming up in the next segment, his whole media scrum from today. A little bit of reaction from Chad Patrick's first clunker as a big leaguer today. It wasn't even that much of a clunker. It was two pitches in particular and two at-bats in particular he'd like back. And we'll break that down coming up in just a moment. Also, we got some time with Isaac Collins as we spent about 5 good minutes with Isaac talking about left field, talking about switch hitting, talking about him getting a little bit more comfortable in the big leagues as he's really carved out a really important role for the Brewers with the injuries to Garrett Mitchell and to Blake Perkins. And, of course, we are going to talk about Jacob Misiorowski. That'll be in the third segment. What it means for the crew. How are they going to fit him into this rotation? We got some clarity on that today as the Brewers will start a new series, a 4-game set with the St. Louis Cardinals. They've already lost one series this year against St. Louis. Now they get a 4-gamer here at home for Father's Day weekend. Real quick, short recap on the day today. The Brewers, they were behind the 8 ball early in this one, a 3-run second inning for the Braves. It all started with a leadoff walk to Marcell Ozuna and a 2-out walk, or rather, backtrack. Leadoff walk to Marcell Ozuna, 2-run homer by Michael Harris. Then later in the frame, a 2-out walk to the 9-hitter Nick Allen allowed the inning to continue for Drake Baldwin, the Madison kid, to hit an RBI single later in that frame to make it 3-0. But then the one real big highlight of the day for the Brewers came off the bat of Rhys Hoskins, and boy, did he need it.
Wall, bye-bye baseball. Rhys Hoskins into the second decade left. His 10th home run of the season, and the Brewers are on the board. It's 3-1 Atlanta.
Lane Grindle on the call. Rhys had been scuffling since that Phillies series when he had such a great homecoming, but he had been golden sombrero on Monday night against Chris Sale. Took a breather yesterday, or rather started to hit the ball a little bit harder yesterday, and then today he gets home run number 10 for Rhys. But, you know, I thought in the moment, avoiding that shutdown inning in the second inning was going to be important for the crew. They're down 3-1. Schwellenbach, the Brewers had seen him. They had a play at the plate earlier in the game, too, after Churio tripled. Contact play was on with 1 out. He gets thrown out at the plate on a slow chopper to third, and I'll defend it. You know, that was a play that the contact play needs to be on, because at the end of the day, if he's standing there and it's a chopper to third, a base hit still requires Churio to score with their 2 outs. If there were 0 outs, yeah, contact play's probably not on, and Churio reads the bounce and stays put and then says, okay, you know, a sac fly can still score me. But in that situation, if you don't go, you might not get another chance to, and that was the case because Jake Bauers, the next batter, grounded out in the contest. The Brewers added another run late in the 8th inning when the game was 6-1 at that time. But the home run ball got Chad Patrick today. Career high in runs allowed, career high in homers allowed. First time he's allowed multiple homers in a game this year. But yet, a career high in strikeouts with 8, a career high in whiffs with 19. There was some good and there was some bad from Chad Patrick. We'll break all that down in just a little bit. But nonetheless, the Brewers, once again, the thump of their order that they rely on, and Pat Murphy talks about this in the scrum in the next segment. You know, you need Churio, Contreras, Hoskins, Yelich. Now, Yelich wasn't in the lineup today. More on that as well. Those guys need to bang, in the words of Pat Murphy. And, well, they ain't banging aside from Rhys Hoskins hitting a home run today. And then the complimentary guys like Turang and Sal, they haven't been getting on base at the same clip that they were earlier in the season. All of this compounds into the pitcher needs to be perfect because the starting pitching has been phenomenal for the last 2.5, 3 weeks or so for the Brewers. It's just been very hit or miss for the offense. We'll break all of that down in a little bit. But up next, we'll hear from the manager, Pat Murphy, after the Brewers fall 6-2. His full media scrum on the other side of this break on 620 WTMJ.
Back with more Brewers Weekly after this.
Here at Richlands, we offer both comfort service and expert service.
Our comfort service comes with movie theater popcorn, hot gourmet coffee, upfront pricing, on-time scheduling, plus anything else we can do to keep you comfortable.
Put that on top of honest service from the most friendliest, hard-working people you'll ever meet inside a tire and service center, and well, we'd like to believe we're on the right track to meeting your expectations.
But when your check engine light, tire light, or any other light screams, "Service me," well, that means you're due for our other type of service.
Our expert service. Tires, brakes, belts, mufflers, transmissions, and even engine repair.
Come on into Richlands and put our expert service to the test.
And while you're relaxing, enjoy our comfort services too. I'm Brett Matchke with Richlands, your
Due for service.
Since 1964, we've changed your tires and so much more. Richland's Tire and Service, such a refreshing change. Richland's.
With Amazon Business, smart business buying tools enable buyers to find and purchase items fast. Free up your teams and focus on your future. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
This is Brewers Weekly on WTMJ.
Welcome back. I'm Dom Cutronio. 855-616-1620 is the phone number. 855-616-1620. We'll be talking about Christian Yelich. We'll be talking about Jacob Marowski. And we'll be talking to Isaac Collins in just a little bit as well. But first, I want to hear from the manager, Pat Murphy, after today's loss. It was a 6-2 final at the hands of the Braves.
Oof. Yeah, I'll tell you, all three of their starters, I know they've been going through a bump in the road here, but getting Acuna back, I think, has made a difference. I think he can see his value. If that isn't a really good major league team, I don't know, because those three starters, it felt like you were facing three closers, like that stayed out there for 7, 8, 9 innings, like it was it's pretty special stuff. Tough to see today. Really tough for both teams. See them strike out 14 times against rookie pitchers is unusual for them too. But we didn't put it all together. But that kid was really good. He was in the zone. 98 in the ninth. Show me a guy that goes 9 innings and throw 98 in the ninth. I'll show you a guy that's probably got some potential. So all the credit this week to the Braves. They were great. We caught the Padres at the wrong time, and they're playing great, as you see. And the Braves are starting to move in the direction with that lineup and that pitching staff. Those first three, and I'm sure they got a couple other guys that aren't bad. I think that Strider guy's got some potential. He's got some upside. That's a team to be reckoned with.
What about with Chad? We haven't seen the long ball, the damage ball affect him.
Yeah.
Today, did you think it was just like execution of some of the pitches?
Yeah, he didn't look himself from the first inning. He didn't look himself. Just a little more hesitation than I've seen in the past. I don't know what it was. Stuff was plenty good. I just saw a little bit of hesitation. The timing was different, it looked like. Walking the leadoff hitter. Just don't see a lot of that out of him. I'm not sure, but he's been so great for us. He's a rookie. He's never faced giving up being in that spot. So maybe that's going to be a good learning experience for him. We still have full confidence. He still got through 5, and we're still within 4. Mears that's as good as we've seen Mears in a while now. Again, I know it was tough to see today, but Mears' ball was coming out good and faced the meat of the order. And, hey, Easton McGee, like, give this kid credit, another rookie kid who, has battled back through injury and give us 3 innings. He reminded me of a guy we had the last couple of years, and Code Red. So I thought that was helpful to keep us in the game and somewhat. And, we just couldn't put a bunch of at-bats together.
Has there been a common theme on this homestand from your offense that you see in these games where I know it was tough to see and give credit to Schwellenbach, but is there a common theme as to why the offense has struggled on this homestand?
Well, I mean, we faced pitchers throwing the ball in the zone early, and I think we're guys that Terang and Frelick are on-base guys. Durbin and Ortiz have to be guys that collectively help us move runners or get themselves on base too. And Churio, Contreras, Yelich, and Hoskins have got a bang, and that didn't all happen. It's not that anybody was terrible or anybody didn't. One thing about our guys is they're always going to battle, but we just didn't put all that together so far. But again, you got to credit the last 3 days. You got to credit who's on the mound, and a lot of teams are going to struggle against those 3 guys.
Based on what else happened before the game, do you think Yelich is back in there tomorrow? Do you have anything further on?
I'm hopeful. He didn't swing today. I think he was going to try it, but I just said, why try it? If we can give it another day and get everything to calm down. He said he felt better today than he did the 2 days he felt better yesterday than he felt the day before. And then he felt even better today, but I want to give it time to heal. We'll see how he comes in tomorrow, and if he can swing, I'm sure he'll want to be in there.
He will likely be in there tomorrow. It's a very fun pitching matchup with Sonny Gray taking the mound tomorrow for the Cardinals and Jacob Mizorowski. Let's talk a little bit more about the Miz on the other side of this break. What does it mean? What could the move be? All of that. Let's break down what to expect with the Slender Man, the Slim Reaper, the Babyface Assassin, whatever we're calling him. The Miz also works well. One of the top Brewers pitching prospects making his big league debut tomorrow. That's coming up next here on your home of the Brewers, 620 WTMJ.
Catch more Brewers Weekly coming up on WTMJ.
This change has leveled us up while being able to maintain the same quality of service that we've always provided, with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission. We're proud to be part of the Century 21 family, so you can move fearlessly with the added confidence of top-of-the-line marketing for maximum home exposure. And that means more eyeballs and the real potential for the highest price for your home. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated. With the ability to market luxury homes on a higher scale than ever before, Century 21 Benefit Realty has taken a huge step forward to tap into a global network of buyers. Maximum exposure to spotlight your unique home with our fine homes and estates marketing so you can sell it for the highest price. And with no upfront fees and 1.9% real estate commission, you win. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
You'll find that the licensed and certified electricians from Quality are top-notch. We've been around for over 60 years, so expect nothing but the best. And here's the kicker. With over 60 vehicles out there on the roads, you're not going to have to wait very long at all for the electrical service you need now. This is Anthony Zanevsky. For all your residential electrical needs, call Quality.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. At Quality, we offer the most respected brand names in heating and air conditioning. Armstrong and Carrier. It doesn't get any better. And our technicians are top-notch. I know, because I handpicked every one of them. They're vetted and thoroughly trained. Hey, they're the cream of the crop. And that's why our quality workmanship guarantee is the strongest in the business.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Rivals meet again when the Brewers battle the Cardinals June 12th through the 15th. Be here for a duel between the Contreras brothers on the diamond and stay for one of the best weekends of the summer. Get your tickets at brewers.com.
It's Brewers Weekly on WTMJ.
The time has come. The Brewers are calling up Jacob Misiorowski tomorrow to start the game, the opener of a 4-game series. I'm Tom Cotroneo. In case you're living under a rock and you don't know who the heck Jacob Misiorowski is, well, he's one of the top pitching prospects in the Brewers organization, and he throws 100. Seems like somebody you should know about. But the Miz this year, returning to AAA. He started last season in AA with Biloxi, was a starter in AA. Then when he went up to the AAA level, they wanted to deload his innings and made him a reliever and also kept him in stay-ready camp, as what the Brewers call it, where the minor league season ends before the regular season in the big leagues concludes, which means there's a gap there where players go to Arizona in what's called stay-ready camp, and they maybe face some guys that are there for instructs or mini camps or whomever, guys trying to get back healthy and stay ready. And there was a chance, in talking to Matt Arnold today, that it was considered, but ultimately decided against, bringing up Jacob Misiorowski as a reliever last year. And so this year, they send him on his way as a starting pitcher. 13 games, 12 starts. Granted, the one was a tandem day because he was following one of the many rehabbers that have been down there in AAA this year. His numbers: a 2.13 ERA in 63 and a third innings, 80 strikeouts, 31 walks. Now, you may hear that number and kind of balk and be like, ooh, wait, what? Like, that's a lot of walks. You're right, and that's always been his calling card of what's held him back to this point in the year and this point in his development. He has always had a very high walk rate every step of the way in his journey to become a big leaguer. Yet the strikeouts have been there every step of the way too. So one of the stats, let me bring you behind the curtain here. One of the stats sometimes you'll see talking about how good a pitcher is at limiting, opposing offenses is batting average against, which quite frankly is one of the worst stats you can use to accurately evaluate how a pitcher is doing against opponents, because it doesn't count for walks, right? A walk really matters against a starting pitcher. That's where, in simple form, something like WHIP, walks and hits per innings pitched, that number comes in handy, especially for somebody like Jacob Misiorowski. And what if I told you, for a full season, Miz currently has the lowest WHIP of his career. He's at 1.09. Last year, it was about 0.2 higher. So meaning out of every 100 plate appearances against him, he's allowing about 80 or a little more than 80. I would say it would be... Sorry, let me start the math over here. I'm watching the finals, and I'm watching TJ McConnell do a crazy reverse layup. Anyway, if you had 100 plate appearances and your WHIP is 1.00, you're allowing at least one base runner via hit or walk. It doesn't count for errors per inning. So there's 100 base runners, but maybe there's only 50 hits in there, but you have more walks, right? That's just how it sort of works in a light sense. The way to think about WHIP is, hey, you want to keep this as low as possible, but anything around 1.15 is really, 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 really good. Anything below that is elite, and he's at 1.09 in AAA right now. The big thing, though, with AAA pitching is that velocity plays so well in the minor leagues, and Miz sits 99, touches 102. Those guys are in AAA because they haven't seen velocity yet. Whereas you come to a big league lineup tomorrow against the St. Louis Cardinals, who just are fresh off facing the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. Look, when Lars Nootbaar steps in there tomorrow night, Lars has seen 100. And the guy behind him, if Brandon Donovan plays, he's got a toe thing going on now. He's seen 100. Wilson Contreras, he's seen 100. Ivan Herrera, he's seen 100. So that's where there will be a learning curve for Jacob Misiorowski. But what makes evaluators so excited about Jacob Misiorowski is the peripherals, the stuff under the hood, the extension he gets. It helps that he's 6'7". You could think that naturally, that, oh yeah, of course he has great extension. That doesn't always work that way. He's got a long, levered, simple windup, but he has a very violent follow-through where he falls off the mound. I wonder if teams are going to exploit that, trying to bunt against him, getting him to field his position, that sort of thing. But he gets such elite extension. We have StatCast now in the minor leagues, and Jacob Misiorowski, if he was in the big leagues right now, it would be on par with like Zach Wheeler's extension, which is known as the best in baseball. Well over 7 feet, which on top of being 6'7" himself and throwing 100 miles an hour, 100 suddenly looks like 104, which what makes his fastball so much more dynamic. He also throws a slider that really looks like a cutter because it's 94 miles an hour, and it's disgusting. And then you've also got a changeup that he's suddenly thrown into the fold this year, which is interesting, and a bigger curveball that he doesn't throw as often. But he can really get by with just the fastball slider, which really acts like a cutter. But the name of the game is throw strikes. Miz doesn't allow a lot of contact, but again, that's the AAA level of trying to figure it out. He's only given up in his last 2 years, in his last 160, 170 innings, over the last 2 years. He's only allowed 12 homers. And again, AAA. Big difference in the big leagues. And what the move needs to be, remember, he's not on the 40-man roster. He wouldn't have been eligible to be on the Rule 5 draft until this coming offseason, so the Brewers were going to put him on the 40-man this offseason no matter what, so might as well put him on this year. But at the same time, there needs to be a corresponding move on the active roster. The simple way to do it is, hey, Easton McGee gave you 3 innings today. He gets optioned back down to AAA, and then that's the active spot on the roster. I don't think the Brewers need to DFA anybody. They have the opportunity to put Garrett Mitchell on the 60-day IL, given he was placed on the injured list at the end of April, ironically the last time the Brewers faced these Cardinals, and the soonest he would be back is July, which, if you put him on the 60-day, that would mean technically his date eligible would be like June 29th or something like that, and the Brewers do not anticipate him being back in time for that. So that's where that could be taken care of. And then how does it work for the rotation? Well, we got the news today from Pat Murphy that Aaron Savali will be going to the bullpen. And that's really big news for Aaron Savali's camp and for this rotation. So that means Chad Patrick's not going anywhere, even with today's clunker. And we were kind of prepping ourselves and bracing ourselves for the hard decision of them optioning Chad Patrick, especially when Brandon Woodruff was due to return. Now, that can get kicked down the road. He did play catch today, which was good news. We'll cross that bridge when we get there when it comes to Brandon Woodruff's return. But the rotation right now is Freddie Peralta, Jose Quintana, Quinn Priester, Chad Patrick, and Jacob Misiorowski. It's pretty darn good. That's really good. And Savali goes to the bullpen. So we speculated on last night's show, could they go to a 6-man rotation? The answer is no. They value the bullpen more. And the way that this impacts Savali, of course, is that, well, he's a free agent to be. The guy wants to be a starter. He believes he's a starter. And for everybody who's shouting at the radios or their podcast device right now saying, well, just trade him. It takes 2 to tango, bud. You don't just say, just take him. No, you traded for this guy. In fact, he's the 3rd highest paid player on the team right now. Pitcher, that is, on the team. You want to make sure you find a good trade partner for him now. There is news that Tigers, Jackson Jobe, he goes down with Tommy John surgery. They might be looking for an arm. The Dodgers are always looking for an arm. There will be somebody between now and the end of July that can find a role for him, perhaps. But the market tells you what you're worth. And Savali, with a hamstring injury, he doesn't throw hard, but he's been traded twice before in his career. Free agent to be. I wonder what his market truly could be. Maybe that's something we find out in the next month and a half. So he has to wear that news. I wonder what kind of role he gets thrown into for the first time. But the Brewers have been getting some sneaky good length out of their relievers as of late, or out of their starters as of late. And Jacob Misiorowski will try to add himself to their list of great performers in the month of June from the starting mound. I'm so excited. We'll have more to react to tomorrow night after the game with Jacob Misiorowski's big league debut, and the first of many, maybe, against the St. Louis Cardinals. All right, up next, we're going to tell you the difference between the panic button and the urgency button, and the Brewers status of the team right now here with less than 100 games to go. Tomorrow is game number 70 of the season. Let's take stock and to say, hey, let's turn things up a notch, shall we? 4-game series with the Cardinals starting in tomorrow night. We'll break it down for you next here on 620 WTMJ.
More Brewers Weekly coming up on WTMJ.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Here'th my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover's accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, it's Father's Day weekend. Don't forget your dad. WTMJ's John Mercure here tonight through Sunday at the historic Fox and Hound Supper Club. All dinners are buy one, get one free. This is an incredible place to treat your dad. What great value, too. This Saturday only, enjoy a 10-ounce prime rib and a 5-ounce lobster tail with garlic cream sauce, your choice of potato, fresh vegetables, super salad, and the Fox and Hound's warm bread with that honey cinnamon butter. I love that. For $79.99, and that's for 2 dinners. 2 dinners. Celebrate with your dad with an old-fashioned, over 20 bourbons, 100 wines, all the ice-cold beer choices that he loves in those 8 unique dining rooms. The Fox and Hound sits in the heart of the Kettle Moraine Forest. The drive and the views are spectacular. And your second dinner is free. This Saturday only, your prime rib and lobster dinner with all the delicious sides, just $79.99 for 2 dinners. Call and reserve today for your Father's Day table. It's a free dinner for Dad. FoxandHoundsRestaurant.com.
Brewers Weekly on WTMJ.
All right, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But now you're in this middle portion where it's like, what's going on? Welcome back on Brewers Weekly. I'm Dom Cotroneo. 855-616-1620. Again, 855-616-1620 to call, to text in. The difference between panic and urgency. Panic is, there is no hope, change everything. Urgency is, you could be playing better than this. And I say this delicately because I can guarantee you there are plenty of players in that clubhouse right now that are saying our offense has not played up to its standard. I know a lot of folks on social media and the armchair GMs are saying, just go get more offense, just go get more. I think the Brewers believe, and I believe as well, there is more offense in this team. One of the first places I'm looking at is William Contreras, and this is where I tread lightly because the dude's playing through a broken finger. But you get to a point like today where he goes 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts as a designated hitter, and you're thinking, man, what happened? He's only hitting 182 in the month of June. That's in 9 games, though, but only a .212 slugging in the month. Just 1 extra base hit, a double. He hit 2 home runs the entire month of May. So you add it all up, his last 35 games, over 120 plate appearances. In fact, it's more than that. It's almost 150 plate appearances. He's only hit 2 home runs and only 6 doubles. The Brewers are built, as you heard Pat Murphy say, the guys in the middle hitting hard, driving in. Yelly's done that recently, but now he's dealing with a wrist. That's why he wasn't in the lineup again today, but the Brewers are hopeful he's in there tomorrow. Rhys Hoskins carried the load in the first 2 months of the year. He's hit a cold snap these last 2 weeks or so. Hits a home run today, homer number 10. You know, he's still got 90 games to hit 20 more homers to get to 30 like he always is his goal. Roof's open again. It's warm. I think it's certainly in the realm of possibility, but it starts with the meat of the order to drive in. Then you look at the top of the order. Well, they need to have guys to drive in. Bryce Terang has really cooled off, but he's still well above league average. He peaked all the way up. He was hitting over 300 for a while. But in late May, he was hitting 297 on May 20th after back-to-back multi-hit games against the Orioles. But now I'm doing this live to get a real reaction out of me here. But since May 21st, the day after those back-to-back multi-hit games, Turang's on-base percentage is just 291, which may sound decent, but he's somebody that on the season his on-base percentage is 50 points higher. So you see a downturn in that. You don't look for Bryce for homers. I know he hasn't hit a homer in a while, but if you get 10 homers out of him, that's quite frankly more than you expected. Draws 12 walks, but how about this? Only 2 stolen bases. Now, part of that's because some of these situations the Brewers are trailing, but he's only had 2 stolen bases since May 21st. That's, again, a 20-game span. He's not getting on base. He's not stealing bags. That's the Brewers' identity. The Brewers have lost their grip on the National League lead in stolen bases. That was coming into today. Again, the Cubs have been, with the impact of Quentin Berry, have been stealing bases like crazy. You know what? I should correct myself. 86 and 84. The Brewers are up by 2 now on the Cubs, but then the Rays have the Major League Baseball lead at 95. So we see that kind of disappear from the Brewers. So that's where I say urgency can solve some of those problems. And you notice I'm not talking about the bullpen. I'm not talking about the pitching staff. Just like we talked about in the beginning of May when the Brewers were in that cold funk and they were getting shut out. They had 6 shutouts in the month of May. And people were asking, well, why do you make that bullpen? Why do you make that? Well, you have to when it's a 1-0 game and you feel like you're still in it, or it's a 2-1 contest and you can't add on. When was the last time we saw the Brewers getting a true bloody knuckle back and forth slugfest affair? They're front runners, which some teams are. That's no big deal. The Brewers' largest comeback this year is only 2 runs. We've seen them do better when their opponent scores first lately, but they haven't been a team that has really mounted that real big comeback or has done it at a consistent enough basis when they're down by multiple runs to make you think, yeah, they're going to do it. Again, 2 runs is the most they've come back from, and they've only done it 4 times. The last time they did it was the opener in Cincinnati on June 2nd when they were down 2-0 and they won 3-2. So I think this weekend, this is where the urgency kicks in. You go 3-1 against the Cardinals this weekend. You win the series, and you got pitching lined up well. You've got Mizorowski's debut tomorrow. You'll have Freddie. You'll have Quintana. You'll have TBD, which will probably be Quinn Priester on Sunday. You've got the rotation lined up how you want it to be. You go 3-1 against the Cardinals. That's a 5-5 homestand against 3 quality opponents. I don't think anybody complains about it, but you know about the missed opportunity. And yet, you then go to the Cubs, and all bets are off. Try to win a series against the Cubs to level the season series. That's where the urgency comes in. Create your momentum again. The momentum's gone. Create it again. With a 3-1 series against the Cardinals, that urgency button gets locked away again. So let's see what they're made of this week against the Redbirds. All right, up next, we're going to hear from Isaac Collins. Sat down with him for a while yesterday, talking about the outfield, talking about what he has done to get more comfortable in the big leagues. That's up next on 620 WTMJ.
Back with more Brewers Weekly after this.
$1 in today's world doesn't go far unless you're spending it at Griffin. Because for just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. Buy one or a whole set. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand. We'll put you in new tires for just $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. That's right, $1 over cost, and we'll even show you the invoice to prove it. So what's the catch? There's really no catch. You don't have to buy a car or a truck from us. We'd like it if you did, but our only requirement is we put them on for you. Buy 1, 2, or a set of 4. The $1 deal at Griffin. Available at Griffin Chrysler Jeep South, 27th Street and Jefferson. Griffin Ford, Waukesha, and Fort Atkinson. 5 ways to make your dollar go further. Griffin, the buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. $1 over cost. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with any other tire offers. AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
After writing 3 unsuccessful offers, Brenda decided to make a no-regrets offer on this next property. She offered $35,000 over asking and promised to complete the purchase even if the appraised value came in as much as $25,000 below the accepted offer price. Why? Because she was tired of losing, and because her AccuNet loan consultant showed her that even in her worst-case scenario, no additional money would be needed at closing, and her payment, which on this home was much more affordable than others she wrote offers on, would only increase by $17 a month. Brenda's no-regrets offer, backed up by a rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval from AccuNet, was accepted over several others. And wouldn't you know, the appraised value came in at the significantly higher than asking purchase price, which happens 9 out of 10 times in our experience. If you or someone you know wants help understanding what a no-regrets pre-approval might look like, get started by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Adair Floors has the newest flooring styles. Luxury vinyl flooring in plank and tile looks. Or choose from carpeting, hardwood, and porcelain tile. Flooring for every room in your home. Get personal care from Adair. Adair Floors and Remodeling, South 27th Street in Franklin.
Without an Advent clinic nearby, people suffering needlessly from chronic nasal congestion and sinus infections would be stuck with either Band-Aid or Sledgehammer solutions. Band-Aids are pills or nasal sprays, and they're not true solutions. Surgery is a sledgehammer, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Because most people don't need surgery for nose and sinus issues, nor do they want a 14-day recovery. Our unique Advent approach can, in 20 minutes in our office, open your blocked nose for good, with only 1-day recovery. I'm Advent founder Dr. Kandula. Outside of Advent's 4 walls, invasive surgery is what they'll recommend. But here you will find effective and convenient in-office solutions to help you stop the need for Band-Aids and avoid the sledgehammer.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
This is Brewers Weekly on WTMJ.
Welcome back on Brewers Weekly. I'm Dom Catronio. Pleased to be joined by Isaac Collins here. And, you know, Isaac, when we saw you make your big league debut last year, it was a whirlwind of emotions for you, I imagine. But you take that experience at the end of the year, go onto the playoff roster, and then spend all off season getting ready for the year. And from that guy that made his debut last September to now, is there comfort? Is there routine? How is that all adjusted for you?
Yeah, there's been a big adjustment for sure. You know, last year it was, everything was just new. I wasn't in big league camp, so wasn't like super familiar with the staff or even the players. There's only a few guys that I had played with in AAA at that point, so it was just, it was a good experience and it was super fun, but it was a little bit too stressful than what it should have been, really. Like, it's baseball, like, it's supposed to be fun, and not saying I didn't have fun last year, but it didn't feel normal. And then going into this year, you know, knowing like what to expect, knowing like what I need to do to get ready before games, it feels a little bit more normal. You know, the fans and the media and just everything that comes along with the big leagues. It's starting to become more, easier to navigate, really. So that's kind of the biggest thing.
Yeah, the human side of the game, I think, is something that is obviously hard for us in the media to really share. Because like, we're not the ones in the box, we're not the ones, learning a new position in the big leagues. And I think that's one of the biggest things in your story is that you get acquired by the Brewers and you're instantly all over the diamond. Now you're playing left field in the big league. So getting the chance to get your feet underneath you is just sort of a hard thing to do. And then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, you're making your first opening day roster. Get your bags packed and you're coming to New York. So when did that finally turn in the right direction for you?
I mean, I couldn't really pinpoint like a specific date. Honestly, there was one moment, I think, in St. Louis. I came off the bench, and I had a really good catch off of Victor Scott. And that was, like, kind of a moment where I was like, okay, hold up. Like, I'm pretty good. Like, I can play up here. Like, I can come off the bench and still provide value. And so that was a huge confidence boost. But still, like at this level, like every single night you have to be ready. You have to be sharp. Every single night you have the chance to get punched in the mouth. Like just that, belief in the foundation that kind of brought me here, has to be solid, and that's kind of my main focus right now.
We're chatting with Isaac Collins here on WTMJ. You're playing left field. I chatted with Julio Bobrón earlier this week talking about your routes, talking about your jumps, and how much improvement you've showed in that area since spring training. Is there anything that you've found that is working better for you to improve these numbers and to really get to a ton of balls? I mean, I point to the ball in Pittsburgh. I know you didn't make the play, but most left fielders aren't even sniffing that play. What do you read about your jumps, your reads off the bat in the big leagues?
I made an adjustment last year, actually. We have this metric called first step that they measure up here, and I was able to kind of figure out a new, prep step that got my first step numbers really low. And, going into this year, it was more just like trusting that jump, because a lot of times, like, I'll make an initial jump at the ball, and I feel like I'm, over jumping, really, like making the wrong route to the ball, but just like trusting my eyes and trusting my ability and knowing like I actually am making the right jump, and just being super reactive to the ball, and that requires reps, that requires just practice and innings out and left, and just getting more and more comfortable. So like it's only June, so like there's plenty of time to grow.
One thing that I think we take for granted in the baseball world is switch hitters, and you're one, and it's like not many. You're not telling Steph Curry suddenly shoot 3-pointers with his left hand too. You can finish at the rim. It's just completely different thing. So tell me about your switch hitting path and how, which side is natural for you, who first inspired it, and what you've been able to continue to accomplish on both sides of the plate.
Yeah, I started switch hitting at a pretty young age. My older brother actually hits left-handed, and I'm naturally right. So seeing my older brother hit left-handed, one day I guess I just tried to hit left-handed, and my dad noticed that it was a pretty good swing, and stuck with it. And there was a lot of growth, a lot of ups and downs throughout the switch hitting process, but it really was just sticking with it and continually honing my craft and perfecting my craft. And it really depends on the season, I guess. I mean, overall, I would say my right side is slightly better. The exit velocities are higher, the bat speed's a little bit higher. But I want to say last year, I think my numbers were pretty much dead even. So it just depends. It's the ebbs and flows of the games. One month my right side might not be very good, and my left side's great. And the very next month it could be the exact opposite. So it just depends, really. But I try to get as much work on both sides as possible. I keep it 50-50 every single day, no matter if the starter's right-handed or left-handed. I always get the exact same amount of swings and do pretty much the exact same routine on both sides, and just attack each day with it.
Isaac Collins joining us here on WTMJ. Appreciate the time. Best of luck and good health the rest of the year.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, Dom.
All right, back with more after this on 620 WTMJ.
Catch more Brewers Weekly coming up on WTMJ.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers, where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
You'll find that the licensed and certified electricians from Quality are top-notch. We've been around for over 60 years, so expect nothing but the best. And here's the kicker. With over 60 vehicles out there on the roads, you're not going to have to wait very long at all for the electrical service you need now. This is Anthony Zanevsky. For all your residential electrical needs, call Quality.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. Over 60 years in business, with over 60 vehicles out in the field so we can respond ultra quickly to your emergency AC needs. When you call Quality for emergency AC service, you can count on a swift response to get the job done right away. So if the heat's got you to the point where it's just too hot to handle, call Quality and we'll get you the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality for the signature service you deserve.
Call Quality. Heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric.
Hey everyone, it's Julia Fallow with Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
And it's Brandon Snide, the producer of the program.
Hey, Summerfest is almost here.
The music, the food, all the things that make Summerfest great, and we're going to send you
To all 9 days.
It's Summerfest on us.
Keep it tuned to WTMJ for your chance to win tickets every single day of Summerfest.
We'll have your opportunity on our show, Wisconsin's Afternoon News, to go to Summerfest on us.
Happy Summerfest from all of us on WTMJ.
It's Brewers Weekly on WTMJ.
Alrighty then, last few minutes of the program. Give you the broadcast schedule for the weekend. Brewers are going to go 6:40 tomorrow night, 7 o'clock Friday. Then the first 3:10 game of the year. All right, summer is here. Let's go. School is out this week across most districts. And then back to 1:10 on Sunday. That was just the one-off last Sunday with the Roku game. The Brewers will send Jacob Mizorowski to the mound tomorrow to make his big league debut. That'll be going up against Sonny Gray. He's been fantastic for the Cardinals. Then Friday, Freddie Peralta against Eric Fedde. Don't get him mixed up. Saturday, Jose Quintana against Andre Palante, who started out white hot. He has come back down to earth. And then TBA on Sunday, that is likely Quinn Priester, but maybe it's DL Hall and then Quinn Priester. Who knows what the Brewers decide to do there. Or Aaron Savali, then Quinn Priester. I don't know. And then it'll be Miles Michaelis countering whoever that is on Sunday. So we're on the air at 6:05 tomorrow. Post-game coming up after that as well. 6 o'clock on Friday. 2 o'clock on Saturday and noon on Sunday. We have Brewers Weekly every day this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then finally, an off day on Monday. Another quick programming note on the back end of that, too. If you've been listening to me for a while, you know that most summers I disappear on Tuesdays to go do my other job. Well, that time has come back around. So I start traveling for MLB on TBS once again starting on Monday on the off day, so no off day for your boy. But the Brewers will be playing the Cubs on Tuesday, so Alex Struff will be filling in for me on Tuesday here against the Cubs. Then I will be back Wednesday from Wrigley as the Brewers get ready for Game 2 of that series. So that begins. You'll hear some hotel room post-game shows throughout the year as I travel with Brian Anderson to do our MLB Game of the Week on TBS. And in fact, one of those games is Brewers-Dodgers right before the All-Star break. And I can't believe, as I was looking at the schedule and I was looking at what the Brewers are going through, the All-Star break's a month away. Like your put up or shut up time is a month away. You know what you got now. You got a month to make sure that panic button never gets looked at, and this urgency button gets put away. Win a series this weekend, and good things happen. A split is a split. It's hard to win a 4-game series, but the Brewers have the rotation set up like they want. They've got Mizorowski making his big league debut. You know what you need to fix with the offense, and hopefully Christian Yelich is healthy to help them do so. One last second text here from Mark. The Brewers can't find a pitcher like Schwellenbach that goes complete in over 100 throws, only gives up 2 runs, and as good as the Braves. They beat the Crew 2 out of 3, so why is it they have a worse record? Hey, they started 0-7. That's a hard hole to dig yourself out of, and they got above 500, then they lost 14 of 17 coming into here, and then they win 2 out of 3. It's just a reminder, this is baseball. Anybody can beat anybody. How do you think the Phillies feel about the Brewers going into their place and sweeping them? How do you think the Red Sox feel that they're finally playing good baseball after the Brewers swept them? The Brewers split a series against Pittsburgh. They probably should have won 3 of those games too. That's baseball, Mark. That's the way baseball go, in the words of Ron Washington. So let's hope for a series win this weekend against the Redbirds. I'm Dom Catronio. Our producer has been Brian Kelly. We'll talk to you over the weekend. 4 games set. And until then, keep on swinging.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Brake issues, electrical issues, 4-wheel drive issues,